fate decided.
Let's get this party started.
Craving something scary.
Hello, Sydney. It's an honor.
Killjoy Jake.
Don't you swear at me, you little shit! Don't you ever raise your voice at me! I am your mother!
Watch Zone.
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
That's right. You know what? We are here and you are here. We'll all be there.
Just the two of us.
That's right.
We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. Just the
and
two of
I.
us. What's going on, everyone?
What's
As you
happening?
see, it's just me and Craven once again. Because we just realized we are the collective. So,
I think so, man.
It's time to make it happen. We should do a weekly segment of Craven some fate. That's what we should do. But we're here. Knight and Jake. Sorry, they'll be back. Friday, I believe, is from what they said in the chat. They're just kind of still caught up with everything. So they'll be good. They'll don't worry, you'll see them soon. So in the meantime, it's just us. Today is Q&A Monday. So shoot us some questions in the comments or in the chat, I should say, for us to answer, and we'll talk and dive into it. To get us started, I do have a question, and I don't want us to get too carried away because I know you and me, because it is kind of pertaining to Stu, but not directly. It's something that I saw in my comments on one of my videos today, and I thought it was an interesting topic for you and me. Not going too crazy into it, and I'll do my best to try to keep my cool, so on and so forth. But so we know an argument that many people use is that Stu was supposed to return in Scream 3, right? Mm-hmm. That was the original script, and it never happened. Okay, right. Mm-hmm. So not so much Stu specifically, but I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on that, like Stu potentially returning for Scream 3, but because it wasn't used, do you consider that still canon? And if so, then couldn't you make the argument for other original scripts that didn't come to fruition as canon? Like, for example, so like Scream 2. So does that mean that Haley and Derek and Cotton are also killers? Doesn't that mean that like Sydney is technically died in Scream 2, 3, and 4, and now she's just been a ghost these last films? You get what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, where does one argument become a non-argument and other ones become an argument? Because it was an original script, but there have been tons of original scripts for all of these films. Even Scream 5 had an original script that they just didn't go with. Right. So why aren't those canon, but the one that people use for argument with Stu and Scream 3 canon? I'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
Oh yeah, no, I've thought this through a lot. I mean, actually didn't know you were asking that question, but I've thought that through before. And so here's where the big differentiator is for me, is that I don't think the scripts are canon, but I think the characters are. So for example, if there was a character like Stu, Wes and Kevin, he was alive, they were 3 weeks from shooting, it was all done. So the script, no. Scripts can change, storylines can change. No, I don't think that's canon. What I think is canon, though, is in the mindset of Kevin and Wes that Stu was alive. That, to me, continues on now. That still is canon. That doesn't, just because the script, got changed, for me, that does not change the mindset they had for the character. Same rule applies for Scream 4. Another perfect example is Kirby, because Wes said that Kirby, he had her move at the end, and that Kirby was going to come back. That was, to me, that was canon. All these years that Kirby's alive. I never thought it was an argument because Wes said it, and so I'm being consistent in my view because the same logic applies to Stu. Those two characters are on record from Wes's mouth of being alive. And the minute I heard that fate, that is why I'm so passionate on my position, because it's not about the story or the script. Hey, Carrie, I see you there. I see everybody. Hey, guys. But the reason so the difference is, no, the scripts are not canon. The storylines, no. But I see a difference. I make a difference between script and character. And that's why I was so happy when Kirby was shown as being alive, because I said, okay, Radio Silence, this is awesome. So you're honoring Wes's canon, because if you go strictly off the movie, most people think she's dead. And it was always, bring her back. But they knew that was the case, that Wes did have her alive. And I thought that was a really cool tip to Wes's canon. So that's why Stu, in my book, is alive. And it's more about Wes and Kevin saying, yes, he was alive then. So in my mind, he still is. It's just whether or not he ever gets worked back into a movie. He may never get worked back in. Right. So, I mean, I may never get my wish. I may be 10 years from now and I'm still, he's in a wheelchair and I'm still hoping he's going to get making the movie. But, at the same time, though, that's my position. So maybe that will help you understand some of the reason why I'm always so passionate, because I'm this passionate on Kirby too. It could just as easily have been bring Kirby back. It's just because it's the same reason. He was going to come back. Now I know he never did in those other, in 4, he didn't come back, or at least he didn't in that trilogy yet. We don't know where it was going to eventually go. I have no clue. But that's why, man. So, I mean, I'm curious what you think on it. That's how I differentiate between the two, is because you can't go crazy. I mean, you can't just bring all these stories back. You say Cotton was the killer. No. It's the character. It's not the story.
Because that's my point. Because, I mean, most of the arguments, like people always use that for their argument. Well, it was going to happen in Scream 3. And my whole thing is like, okay, if it was going to happen, why didn't it? And I know, obviously the Columbine thing, they changed the original script.
Yes.
But Matthew Lillard was ready to go. I mean, there were reports, whether this is true or not, but there were reports that they paid him. So if they really did pay him, why would they pay him and not rewrite him? They could have easily rewrote him into the script, especially with Roman. Roman would have made perfect sense for Stu to return, because, I mean, think about it. Stu would have known Roman. You would have had the connection. He was tied into the past. He was part of the Marine kill, which Stu was a part of also, so on and so forth. So you would have had an easy tie-in. It would have been an easy plug-in for him to return. And so, like, I've never liked it was going to happen. I think there are better arguments to argue Stu returning than, they were going to bring him back in Scream.
I agree.
But they never did. Therefore, it's to me, you're actually proving my argument that he's not going to return more than proving your own argument that he is going to return by using something that never happened. Because
well, again, I'm not going to get too deep into this, bro.
I'm like I said, there are better arguments.
There are a lot of. I mean, but I didn't give you an argument. You were just asking me, how do I look at it?
Yeah, that's not. I'm just saying, people when they argue, that not us in general. I'm talking about when people bring up that point. I don't think it's a good point to bring up, because there's been tons, like, Haley and Derek were the original killers. So what? So was Haley and Derek killed as killers? Like Sydney, they planned on killing in Scream 2. They changed that. Scream 3, they were gonna kill. We were just like, get out of here, Knight. We're sick.
See ya, man. You and Jake gotta go.
His voice makes us all look bad. So
it does, man.
We gotta get rid of him.
I'm jealous of his voice.
Yeah. But Scream 2, like I said, Cotton was supposed to kill Sydney. That was a big plot point twist. So, like, they never used that. So what?
Right.
Like, what do you make of that? Scream, 4. Jill was essentially supposed to get away with it, and Sydney was supposed to die or leave it up in the open. And they
It
were
was
supposed
ambiguous.
To say,
right.
we have a live one here, and it was either going to be Kirby or Sydney. They were going to see what the result
Right.
was at the end of 4, and then make their decision, that kind of thing. So it's just something. Like I said, I know if I get too into it, we're both gonna get too into it.
No, it's fine. I mean,
so I want to pivot a little bit because you did mention something about Kirby. And
yep.
One, do you think that they actually will bring back Kirby, for one? And the reason I'm curious about this is because one, we got the Kirby Easter egg, but it's something that I've referenced that Easter egg was from 3 years earlier. A lot can happen in 3 years. And then we got the deleted scene Easter egg with the Kirby missing poster, which was behind all the characters during the police scene. And so could it be possible that Kirby does not return and maybe she is dead or something along those lines? And maybe they use Scream 6 as a story point. It's something that I kind of briefly referenced in the last live stream when it was just you and me. Was, what if she is like a Marine type character where she was killed prior to the actual Ghostface events by Richie and Amber? Not in the sense of like she's somebody's mother, but in the sense of like Marine was the catalyst and the prep going into becoming Ghostface. And could Kirby be the same thing? So do you think that they actually will bring Kirby back, or do you think that it's a real possibility? No. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a good question, man. I think it, honestly, I hate to be that guy, but I think it's 50-50. I hate to say that, but I really do. I think it's literally right now. It's just as likely she'll show up as it will that she won't. I think it can. But my thing is, though, I'm like, if you're going to show that Easter egg, man, follow through. I mean, don't do that and then not bring her. Jake, I mean, sorry, Fate. Don't. Jake's on the brain, you know. But don't do that and not bring him back. I almost feel like you have to. Like you've thrown the line out and we're biting on it, so you need to reel it in and bring it up to shore. So I hope they do, just because of the fact that they've teased it already that she's out there, she's alive, and I know the time frame there. They have to, that could be a factor for sure, but. I hope so, but it's 50-50, bro. Honestly, I think it could go either way.
Yeah, I'm with you on the sense of the reason I think this is an important point of topic is because, and I'm sure you see it in your comments too, is that most of the comments I get in regards to Kirby is Kirby's back. They're gonna bring her back in Scream 6, and my whole thing is like hold, like we don't know that for sure.
We don't know.
Just because they gave us that Easter egg, they could do a lot with it. Like I said, there's a 3-year gap. A lot could happen in 3. I mean, she could have gotten in a car accident and died, anything in 3 years, the character. They could do whatever they want with her. They could have killed her off camera, whatever. I do think that they did that for a purpose. Whatever that purpose is. Whether she is brought back as an actual character or she is used as a plot point for the film. Like I said, maybe she was kidnapped and killed. And therefore, maybe this new killer has some tie into that or something along those lines. Another idea I threw out there was, a killer potentially going after the survivors of, Ghostface attacks, that kind of thing, trying to end the bloodline. I just, there's got to be something to it, just because I just don't see the point in doing that without giving the fan you were better off just leaving it out and just letting the fandom decide for themselves, because that's always kind of how it's been, right? You have one side that thinks like she's alive, you have the other side that thinks no, she's dead, but whatever, it's your personal opinion. And I think that if they weren't going to bring her back, you're better off just leaving that to the imagination for the audience,
man. Yeah.
Rather than this. But even the 2 Easter eggs are counterproductive, which I think is funny, because you have
there it is.
Because you have the whole even that Easter egg, like I think that was just fan service. I mean, we'll see how that turns out, but I think I would have liked. Here's my thing. Whatever they decide to do with Stu, I just want a definitive conclusion.
Yeah.
Like I just
Yeah.
I
That's
like
fair.
that Easter egg to me is a non-Easter egg either way. Like, because
Okay.
I look at it as like if they really wanted to establish Stu's survival, it wouldn't have been a question and it wouldn't have been on a true conspiracy site, right? You would have put it on like E Entertainment or something like that, and like Stu, a Stu documentary or whatever. Or when they released remember they had that promo for Gale Weathers, the real events of whatever of 96 or whatever, and it showed Billy Loomis and Stu and stuff like that in the documentary. Like that would have been a great point to like establish him as like alive. But either way, I would like to just have this whole debate just ended because I think in many ways.
I think it'll end when he shows up. It will finally end it. I think they just need to make it happen. Just make it happen. And let's do it. And let's go.
But the problem is like, what happens if they don't want him to bring him back? Like, I think either Radio Silence needs to come out and just say, "Hey, look, we know Stu," because it's almost like they're playing with the fandom.
Oh yeah, they want us to believe.
Which to some point is good, but the problem is you're also dividing a lot of people. Because, I mean, even in our comments, even on, like, the Woodsboro group, like, all that stuff, like, it's literally divided to two sides. You have the diehards that think he's alive and want him to return, and then you have those that do it. And the problem is like, you're drawing a line in the sand, and you're making people decide which side you want to get on. And at this point, it's starting to get really heavy because you got all these people campaigning for Stu to return, and it's like, so make a decision because all you're doing is just dragging out both sides and you're putting this divide and for no real reason. Like I would rather Radio Silence come out and say, "Hey, we do have plans to bring Stu back," which I don't think they would, but whatever. If they did, but they would show him or just be like, "Hey, look, it's never going to happen, guys." Like I know. And of course there's going to be people that are going to say like they would never admit that. They would never say that. Yeah, but if we get a Scream 6 and there's not even a clue that he's in it, and they stated he's never coming back, at least as we're in charge, then at least you have your answer. Maybe you can have hope that in future installments, maybe, but at least you have that answer of like, hey, we don't like the idea of Stu coming back. We don't want Stu to come back. And you're not going to see him in 6. You're not going to see him in any future installments as long as Radio Silence is doing it. That's fine. I don't think you ruin your franchise. I don't think by saying that people are going to riot or anything like that. But I do think you get a definitive answer and then people know not to expect it. Because the problem is then you also have a lot of people that have their hopes up and every film they're going in thinking, this is the movie, this is the movie, this is the movie. And now you just lowered their expectations when they get to the movie and it's not there. We saw that with Scream 5. There were people genuinely upset that Stu
I know. I was watching a reaction yesterday from someone who I'd never seen before, reaction channel, and they were doing. I sometimes like to watch these reaction videos for people who are watching it for the first time and kind of see how it goes. And that person they were so upset, that Stu was not in this movie. Like, what a blown opportunity. I'm like, I know, it was, you could see it, like so much disappointment, that it didn't happen. How everything was all set up in his house and all this is great stuff. And, so, yeah, I mean, but, again, we got to all remember, man, no matter what side of this you're on, whether you're like me and you got your Stu train here that I'm conducting, if you're on Fate's side where you're like, that was better left in the past. Either way is fine. It doesn't really matter. But the main thing that matters is keep everything in perspective. All right. This is a passionate thing, but it is a character in a movie. This is not, cancer. This is not heart disease. This is not life support in an ICU hospital right now.
It's not your mother.
Yeah, this is fun stuff. And so, it's an interesting questions to talk about. And I support you. I support anybody. I mean, like in general, if you have a position and it's your conviction, then good for you. Stand with it. Go for it. I support it. And whatever it is. Well, unless it's so I have my certain limitations now.
We all have our lines. Yes.
We have our lines, but like Fate and I are a great example of how we respect and one another. We're friends with one another. We're in the brotherhood. We have two very, very fundamentally different positions. And I will never sway you, and I know you'll never sway me. And we know that. We you hear that stem where you agree to disagree.
Well, I mean, if Stu's in Scream 6, then
I'll sway you. I can sway you.
Yeah.
You'll finally wave the white flag
if he shows up and I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. You know.
Well, but until that time, that's what I meant. Until that time,
like my thing is just until.
And that's fine. It's all right.
Until I get some. I just like I said, I don't care either way. Like I'm not I like. And that's people's misconceptions. They think because I don't want Stu to return that I hate Stu. No, I love Stu for what he was. As a character, he's one of my favorite characters, if not my favorite character in the entire franchise. But I just want a definitive answer either way. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Guess what? I'm wrong all the time. Okay? I have no problems. I have no problems with being wrong. I just want to know for a fact that I'm wrong. Like, because right now it's just there is no real answer. Anyone can make anything out of anything. If you look into something hard enough, guess what? You're going to find what you're looking for. It's how it is. It's the whole thing. Like, like if you have a significant other, you're never supposed to go through their phone or something because as soon as you do that, you're going to find something, whether it's real or not, because you just have it in your head that this is how it's going to be. I would just like to see in Scream 6 some definitive answer. Like, hey, Stu is not coming back, or hey, we're going to lay the blueprint to bring Stu back. Either way, fine.
They'll never say it, though, man. They're never going to say that,
Give us some... Yeah, well, no. I don't think they'd say it out loud.
Yeah.
But when Scream 6 comes...
Right. We'll see what happens in the movie.
Establish it. Because
Yep.
Here's the thing. If we don't... Let's say we get another silly Easter egg like we did in Scream 5.
Bye, Knight. Just want to say bye to our buddy, Knight.
See you later,
Knight's heading
Knight.
out. See you, man.
Appreciate you, buddy.
We love you too, buddy. We'll see you Friday.
Love you. See you Friday. And so let's say, like, if we get another like Easter egg of Stu like we did in Scream 5, that's gonna piss me off because it's like because it's not an answer either way. Like I said, that conspiracy thing, all that did was just drive both sides more. Because people that are like, oh my God, there's our proof. But then it's like, it's a conspiracy theory website. They're asking a question just like we would if we were doing a theory video. It's a theory and idea. And so it's not a definitive answer. Like, I don't want to see that. I either want two things, either lay the groundwork to bring him back, because I don't think you can just bring him back. So you need to at least start laying the breadcrumbs to bring him back. Like you actually made a good point for Leslie Macher, having it look like it's Stu Macher and then have it being revealed as Leslie Macher. Yes. But you could kind of do the same thing and still establish Stu in some capacity.
Yeah, you can.
Transitions into Scream 7.
Right.
But if they don't do that, then I just think that's then what's the point of bringing them in 7? It's just because then we're just in the same spot we're in now. I just want them to give us a definitive answer one way or another. Like, are we gonna? Is he coming or is he not? If he's not, fine, leave it like that. If he is, fine, establish it. So everyone just has their answer.
Yeah, absolutely. Austin's in the house. How you doing, Austin? So what's good? Yeah, I love we can all have different opinions and nothing but respect. That's right, man. That's how it's supposed to be, man. Exactly. Yep. It's like you don't have to be shouting and yelling at people to say I agree or disagree. It's just real. It's real simple. But yeah, I think you're right. I personally am with you. I would love in 6 that if we're going to see him in this trilogy, all right, if that is going to be the plan, then I would love for getting those crumbs, getting some more information in 6, and then maybe 7 is the big reveal if it's the end game. Yeah. But that would be awesome. And I've always said that it could be 7 if the plan is to bring him back. We got just these little things in 5, very subtle little things. They throw in this little conspiracy thing just to get our brains going there. And then in 6, they could make it a little bit more substantial, more, there is another thing in play that we're not seeing on the screen, and all arrows are leading that way. And then 7, we had the big reveal. He's definitively killed. And I've told you this. when they bring him back this time, they're going to definitively kill him in a way that is impossible to ever be disputed. There's going to be body sawed in half, decapitation. It's going to be some kind of crazy way to do it. I guarantee you, if they're thinking about it, they're already figured the death out. Like, it's going to be so brutally obvious that it's finally ended here. But anyway, we'll see. I hope it happens. You guys know, and so I see both sides. But at the end of the day, man, I'm the conductor of the train, my man. And let's go. Let's get it up. All right, now, guys, just get it up. Now, guys, this is you guys' session here now for the last half hour or so here. Got about 30 more minutes for today. So get your questions in. If you guys have any questions you'd like to ask us, we'll be glad to entertain that. If it's about a movie.
While people are throwing in the chat, because yes, please give us some comments. We'd love to answer your questions, so on and so forth. I agree with you 100%. No Stu or no Stu, just give us a good. We need a good
movie.
Now they can just have fun with it. Scream 5. Yeah, exactly. I'm really excited for Scream 6 because I think Scream 6 gives us a real opportunity, unlike ever before. Because now they can just go make them. Like, I want to see them have fun, be creative. But kind of sticking with what we are talking about while we start getting some questions. It's a video I made today that I think I'd love to hear your thoughts on. And that stemmed from I made a Tatum. Because remember Rose McGowan a while back, which I've just seen start making its rounds again, so I was addressing it. Remember Rose McGowan said she'd like to come back as Tatum's twin out for revenge, which I think is a terrible idea.
That's horrible. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's a terrible idea. But for whatever reason, I've seen it a lot lately. Like in comments, I've seen it on the Woodsboro group, stuff like that. So I made a video, not yesterday, but the day before about it, just kind of like letting people know where it stemmed from.
She had a sister, right? Because she had two beds in her room in 96.
But that was a 90s thing. I mean, I had bunk beds in my room because it's for sleepover and stuff. And I've seen a lot of comments. Even in that video, I had a lot of comments. Not just that, but you got to keep in mind. And this was the thing that I made in that video. Is I said you got to keep in mind besides the twin bed thing. Also, you got to keep in mind, Sydney was like the Riley family's other daughter. She always slept over. She was always there. Her father was always out of town, as they established in the beginning. Sydney knew the drill. She knows what's going on because it's a common thing. His dad always comes. And she usually stayed with Tatum. Like, that was the thing. They had their system. But the question that I wanted to propose is that in that video with the Tatum thing, I got a lot of comments from people saying, like, why don't they bring like Rose McGowan back as like another character, not related to the Rileys, just as like, another character entirely. And so it got me thinking, like, could some of these actors, like say a Matthew Lillard or somebody, or whoever, Rose McGowan or Jamie Kennedy. Jamie Kennedy especially was like my big argument point in the video, because you had the Jamie Kennedy experiment where he wore different guises all the time. You had like Wes Craven was dressed up as Freddy, the janitor, and you didn't even know that was him unless you like knew. It was like one of those things. So do you think it would be possible to bring back some of the actors in the franchise of Scream, especially since a lot of them have been so far removed? Like, I mean, even Matthew Lillard, you're talking 25 years ago. So it would be nostalgia for people like us that know who he is. Mm-hmm. But the newer generations and newer audiences, they might not even make the connection, really. They might not even really care. Do you think that they could bring somebody back like that? Mm-hmm. And if so, or do you think the other side is you couldn't do that with, like, say, the iconic characters, like a Matthew because of Stu, or a Jamie Kennedy because of Randy, unless you like just completely disguise them to where it was unrecognizable, and you only knew if like the end credits or whatever. Or, but do you think that maybe they could bring back, say, like a Sarah Michelle Gellar, who wasn't a huge iconic character in the franchise? Cece was great and all, but she didn't have a significant role. She wasn't somebody that was hugely important, anything like that. Parker Posey, who played Jennifer. Posey, yeah. I mean, she had a more prominent role in Scream 3, but she wasn't an iconic legacy character. I mean, obviously you couldn't do it with somebody like David Arquette. Like,
Oh
what are your
yeah.
thoughts? What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that would be a possibility, especially because things are so far removed, or do you think no, you couldn't do it with iconic characters, but maybe you could
Yeah.
do it with a so on and so forth?
Yeah. No, I think the iconic characters. There's no way you really could do that yet. That's 30 years from now, maybe. But I think if you'd have to put them in makeup, like Wes Craven was Krueger. You did not know that was Wes Craven
Yeah.
just by looking at that. I think you'd have to do it in a way like that where they're totally somebody else. But then if you do that, it's kind of like why have them at all? Because if you want to bring somebody back, because then you want to know who that's them.
Yeah.
So I mean, it could be fun to do it. It could play around with that. But I personally say the iconic characters. Yeah, hey, what's up, Florin? I say no personally, but I think you could do it with some of the side characters, like some of the guys who play like the guy, and I don't have the names in front of me, so you guys have to forgive me, but the person who played Dewey in Stab 3, I mean, that's in Scream 3, on the set, and then the guy who played Randy, not Dwayne Martin. Is it Dwayne Martin? No, Dwayne Martin is Joel.
Dwayne Martin is Joel.
That's Joel. So I can't remember his name right now, but anyway, those characters I think you could absolutely. And Dwayne Martin, honestly, you could bring Dwayne Martin into it, even though he was a cameraman for Gale. But I think you could get him in there and no one would cause any issues. You could bring Kenny back, although I wouldn't, because that's again most of the Scream 1 characters, honestly, Fate to me are off. They're all off limits. It's just you can't. That's the one film you want to. I would stay away from.
Okay, so could you bring back, like, say, a Jada Pinkett Smith as another character? Because I mean, she had an iconic kill in Scream.
She did.
2.
She did have an iconic kill. It would be, actually, the more I think about that, man, yeah,
Or
I
like
don't know.
Omar Epps, because Omar Epps was that was her boyfriend in that.
Yeah, I don't think
Like,
so.
Because the kill was so iconic.
It was so iconic, and it would bug the crud out of me to see him in a Scream movie. Yeah, it would. Yeah, it would. I think you're better off just unless you're gonna pull a Stu or a Kirby or Angelina, one of those three, bringing them back as themselves. Otherwise, man, I don't think I'd roll the dice. I mean, what do you think, man? I wouldn't do it.
I personally, and I even said in the video, I don't really like the idea.
I don't either. No.
It was more just food for thought because I saw it so much in the comments of that video. Like, it wasn't just one or two people. Like, it was a bunch of people in the comments that were like, "Well, what if we brought back this character as somebody else?" Or so I was just like, I was like, that's an interesting discussion. Like, I'd love to hear people's thoughts on it. And so I made the video diving into that. Like, and I made the points and I made the arguments for and against. And then I, of course, as always, at the end, I gave my honest opinion on how I felt about it. And I don't like the idea. Mm-hmm. Could you do it? Like I said, could you do it with like a Sarah Michelle Gellar? I think possibly. I don't think she's big enough to where it would be nice nostalgia for some. I mean, obviously, it would probably piss off others, but I mean, no matter what you do, people are going to be pissed. So I don't look at I look at what would the consensus be. Like if you let's say there's 1,000 people, if 100 people are pissed off, that's probably always going to happen. But if you have the other 900 split between nostalgia and not even realizing, then I think you did a good job. I just think I'm not big on the idea, but I did have somebody in that video comment, what if they did sort of like the Scream TV series, like how the first two seasons they're in like a different universe entirely. Like you had the Brandon James, which, by the way, excellent interview with Mike Vaughn.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man.
For those that don't know, he got to interview the voice of Brandon James in from the Scream series 1 and 2. And it was really good. So awesome. You got to go check it out on his channel. It's on the rewatch. So do that.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, it was a good one. He was really cool too. He was really
super nice,
like, super humble, funny guy.
It was so good because I booked him for an hour, and I got to that 58-minute mark, and I said, "All right, Mac, now we're at 58 minutes. We'll start to wrap." And he's like, "Oh, I'm having fun. Let's keep going." And then he went a whole another hour. He went 2 hours. It was really good. Yeah,
it was. He was really cool. But so I had somebody comment an interesting thing that I actually thought was very interesting. And they were saying like how Scream 1 and 2 was in a different universe. What if they did a Scream series, like an episode, like, and we've talked about like them potentially doing like an anthology series for like the Scream series, because it's very likely they're going to bring it back in some capacity. What that is, we don't know yet. But what if they like? Do you think that they could bring everyone back, like Matthew Lillard, Skeet? Pick your poison, like, and they could bring them back for an anthology series set in a different universe for the series. Like, say it is like it is a different type of killer and a different. Do you think that would be a problem? Because that I might be okay with, because you don't ruin the sanctity of the films.
Right.
Like, the films themselves are still continuity. They're still great. But you give that fan service to many people. Like, it would be great. I mean, you could even bring them back as their characters if you wanted.
You could, do it in that
because
situation.
It's something else entirely. Like, what do you think about that? Two, I might actually make a video about that after this.
That's actually a really great idea.
That's actually a really good point of conversation. I'd like to hear people's thoughts on this. But yeah, one, what do you think of that idea? Two, would that fill your appetite for Stu Macher if you were able to see an entire series with Matthew Lillard returning as Stu Macher?
I mean,
but they didn't bring it into they didn't bring it into the films. They were
back
just
to
like,
the films.
We're going to give you an entire series with Billy and Stu, and and tell a different story. Maybe they're the targets this time instead of the killers. Like, that would be kind of cool. I don't know. What are your thoughts? I'd love to hear.
Yeah, I love it, man. I mean, if I can get Stu back for an hour and 54 minutes in a movie, that's awesome. But if I can get him back for 10 hours on a 10 episode season, then hey, that's even better. It's 10 times, right? Whatever, 6 times, 5 times better. So, yeah, I would love that. Sure, that'd be it could be so much fun, man. And to see them back as themselves in their elements, I think you could do so much with that. I don't know if they would ever really do that, but I don't think they will. I would love it.
On board for that. I mean, Matthew Lillard is open to coming back to the Scream franchise. We just saw Skeet, so obviously he's back. Rose McGowan said she'd like to come back as Tatum's evil sister. So why not just come back as actually Tatum? You can even bring back David Arquette because he was kind of disappointed that he was killed.
Oh, absolutely.
Bring back David Arquette as Dewey. I mean, you could bring Roman back. You could bring Parker Posey back as Jennifer. You could bring Jamie Kennedy back. Jamie Kennedy had huge hands and his fingerprints all over Scream 5, and he was super passionate about it. I think the actors might actually be on board for something.
I think so too, man.
Would Paramount actually do that? Because that would be a Paramount Plus exclusive. And how would you want them to go about? Oh yeah, I think it would be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But how would you want them to go about that? Would you want them to maybe have different killers entirely, and we have Stu, Randy, Tatum, Billy, all of these characters, and they are their characters, and then you have another killer and they're the targets? Or would you want one of them to become the killers again? Because I just think if you got all those characters back, immediately we would think Billy and Stu are the killers again. I think it would be nice to kind of switch that up and maybe make them the final two. Oh,
wow. Man, interesting. I don't know. I really would have to give this a lot more thought. I think it's hard to not. I want to see them in the. I mean, it's hard to. I really want to see them in the roles that I love them in, which was who they were in '96, right? But they didn't start off that way, so things had to happen to get them there, right? We hope we know the background there. But you could, like I say, you could do this whole anthology, like you say, where the storyline is just completely separate. It's its own thing, and we're going to tell a new story in these 8 episodes or whatever it's going to be. Excuse me, what it's going to be. So, do I want to see Matthew, Billy, and Stu being chased or doing the chasing? I don't know. Part of me, I'm split. Part of me says it'd be really cool to see them something completely new, where they actually are the victims, or being the ones that have to outmaneuver the killers. Or maybe it's a story where they're talking about becoming killers, and then all of a sudden they're being stalked. It's like the whole thing flips on them. It could be interesting, but I have to see Matthew. I have to see Skeet and Billy slicing and dicing, man. For me, I would want that fulfillment to see them in their element, just tearing people up, man.
Yeah, but to be fair, I mean, technically, we've never actually seen them slice and dice them. They've
Not out
always
of
been in the
costume.
Ghostface costume.
Yeah.
We know it in hindsight that it was them. You know,
Right.
so like, is it really that big? What's going on, Jack?
What's up, Jack?
Would it really be that much of a difference? You know, like if they, you know, like what happens if they had an epic kill at the end? Like what happens if Billy recreated the Sam attack on
Right.
the new killer, and
I
you
was just
saw,
thinking that.
and you really got to see Billy slice and dice, and you really got to see Matthew Lillard slice and dice as Stu, like because their characters would still be the same. They have always been those. They've always been those characters. They just were also killers behind closed doors. Like, so you would still get Stu Macher, you would still get Billy Loomis, you'd still get whatever characters you bring back. They would just be, you know, like they would be something. I don't know. I think it's one of those things I do think you'd have to see.
I do too, man.
Because my only problem is if you make Billy and Stu the killers, we're all gonna know that. You know, like it's gonna be the first thing that pops in our head. So it kind of ruins that mystery, which might not be a bad thing, because I think if they were to do something like that, it's pure nostalgia. They're not doing it. They wouldn't be doing that to make some crazy epic story. You know, that's more of just like for us, like to really get that nostalgia, that hit of, you know, nostalgias. But I don't know. I mean, I'd still like something entertaining.
Something
like,
entertaining and different.
Yeah, I don't want to just watch a series with them and it's just like, you know, everything that's gonna happen. I don't know. It's an interesting point. Like I said, I just wanted your thoughts because I really like
it. This is a great comment here. A Ghostface narrator that shows how Stu, Billy, and Roman kill Maureen while the narrator films it. A Ghostface that has never been caught for the original murder. So like there was a third killer involved in the beginning that we don't know who it was.
Well, Roman was the director, right? And
Roman was the director.
Maybe he had a cameraman.
That's true.
You know,
maybe
Roman was the director. Maybe Angelina was the cameraman or cameraman. You know,
there you go, man. Maybe Angelina was the one that was, you know, out there and filming, you know, the footage of Maureen with Hank.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a very real possibility.
Angelina.
Let's go, girl. Our second killer from 3. Let's go. Let's see here. Carrie says, I think they've killed before Casey and Steve, also before Maureen. Oh, okay, maybe. You don't just start killing. I think we should see what we haven't seen in Scream from their perspective.
I've always wanted a prequel.
I've always
wanted a prequel, whether it's a film or a series, just to see all the buildup. Like I would love. The problem is a prequel wouldn't likely have a ton of killing, which might not be good for most fans. I think the only people that would really love that are like diehard Scream fans, you know, because
like us.
It's for us. Well, yeah, because for us it'd be more about the story rather than the actual killings. Where, you know, the casual fan or people that are, you know, this are just entering the Scream franchise, they want to see, Angelina hype. They want to see the killings. The problem is that if you did a prequel before, there's probably not a ton of killing. You know, there might have been a kill or two before Maureen, or maybe slightly after, before they became Ghostface, but that would likely be at the end of the series. Like, let's say they did a series. Your first probably 8 episodes would be the backstory, you know, of a Marine coming to back to Woodsboro, getting rid of the Rena Reynolds name, and, you know, finding Neil, and so on and so forth, and then have that establishment, see their lives, see the backstory, see Roman recording and doing the hi, I'm your son, my son is dead, Rena Reynolds is dead, that whole thing. And then so you probably wouldn't get any like real kills or anything till like episode maybe 6 or 7. So you're talking the first half of the series would be just strictly like almost like a drama series more than a you know, killing series, which again I wouldn't mind. Just because I would love to see that backstory. I would love to see the events that took place, like Roman and Billy Stu. Like, I think that's something that'd be really good to have unfold. And you know what would make a really great series too, that I've seen other people mention.
What's that?
Is Mickey. because Mickey was a serial killer before he became Ghostface.
Yep.
That's where Mrs. Loomis found him, on that serial killer website.
Yes, right.
So that is a series you could get. You could even have like almost like a Dexter type series where Mickey is just this serial killer running around killing people. Like that would be, I wouldn't mind that, like a prequel, like an origin story for Mickey.
Yeah,
that
man.
would be pretty cool. I don't know. I think I would like. There's a lot they could do with the series. Like there's a lot of stories. There's a lot of backstories.
Oh yeah. A whole lot you could do, man. So much
that
you
could
do.
fill in and kind of put together. But I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I think the prequel. One thing about the prequel I mentioned is also that you could have had Roman contacting them and then saying, "Hey, you know, before you do this thing, you need to have some practice."
Yeah.
And so we see them killing people. Or what about this? You see them kill Maureen. It starts off the series, and then the rest of the series, you see them who they're killing for that whole year. He's dating Sydney because they wait a whole year until they have the events of Scream '96. Yeah, so they could be killing people in other counties, in other cities. They could be, you know, not in Woodsboro, obviously, where they would be. It would be associated with them. So you could do you could enter that whole 1 year, almost do this 1 year period between Maureen and Sydney. What happened in that 1 year other than high school? Yeah. Because that, like you said earlier, you know, the fact that they were killing Maureen, there's probably didn't just stop there. These people are psychopathic people. So
when they got that taste of blood, and that's what
right.
ultimately led them to become Ghostface.
It is just like they got the taste of, or just like Sam got her taste of blood killing Richie, and I'm anxious to see because I mean, look how that develops. Yeah, I think there's more coming because man, come on, look at that face, look at that, dude. There is some stuff going on there that I think we're gonna see. I want to see them develop that more. And look at that shot, wiping the blood off of the knife. Look at that, dude.
I really hope that they elaborate more on her backstory and like that taste of blood now. Like I hope they don't just brush that over. You know,
I do too, man.
Yeah. Like I hope that even like the Billy hallucination, all that's like, let's explore her psyche more now, especially now. Like I said, I would love to see her because you have Tara, and Tara had the more traumatic experience, really. I mean, she did. Let her be the character with PTSD. Plus, I think her acting would deliver that better.
100%.
Where Sam has the personality of a psychopath. You know, that very stale, plain bagel. You know, so I think she would fit that role more of like the like struggling with her sort of inner demons of wanting to kill. And I think her character and personality fits that better. And so you could have this struggling PTSD character in Tara, and then you have the, you know, taste the blood character for Sam. I think that would be what I would love to see.
It would be great. I agree 100%, man. Totally. Because, she, you know, Sam kind of has similar personality. Well, there's some similarities, let's say, to Billy. Billy was not a charismatic person. Sam is very much not a charismatic character. You know, there's some similarities there. Tara seems to be much more of the outgoing, like Stu was, in terms of just personality traits and how she played the character. But yeah, right, man. Absolutely. I think that Tara, I mean, look at that. That stab to the hand is just, oh my gosh. It's so well executed. The practical effects of all of it, however they did it, it looks so good. And, but man, I'll tell you, look at that. I'm telling you, she is, you can kill with one stab. All right. She wasn't killing Richie. She was destroying Richie, man. And there's a difference. And we never saw
23 times.
20, yeah.
No, Richie.
Is it 23 now?
Jack Quaid came out and he made a tweet. And he said he was like, really 23 times? I was stabbed 23 times.
Okay. I thought it was 22. All right.
Something along those lines. Yeah, it was
22. But still, gosh. I mean, that's not what a normal person. Sydney would never do that. Sydney did what needed to be done. But but the way that Sam killed was someone who was enjoying what she did. That was someone who was getting into
Yeah.
it. And that shot there and the whole wiping the knife off right there, I never will forget in the theater when I saw that the first time. I said, "There's something. They're setting us up for something here. We've never seen a final girl do that. That is only Ghostface."
Well, even Radio Silence, they talked about that. They had that interview where they talked about the wiping the blade, and they were like, they wanted it to. It was like a callback to Billy Loomis in Scream '96, and it was also just the nostalgic thing. And it's just that whole. It was just it was to show the connection, to show the bloodline, to show the the thing. So I love that. I thought it was a very nice touch, and it raised a lot of questions, which is what you want from something like that. And I did think it was a nice callback to Billy, that wiping of the blade and all that stuff, and it's not just that, but the wiping of the blade thing is so iconic in the Scream franchise. I mean,
so much.
Even Mickey, after he went over that balcony scene where it zooms in on the blade and he wipes the blade and looks up and runs away. Like that scene is forever embedded in my mind.
Oh yeah, all of them.
The wiping of the blade is just a amazing Ghostface thing.
It's so good. It's like, I love Stu Macher when he wipes the blade off after fake stabbing Billy in the room.
Yeah.
And sitting, he's just like, oh my gosh, this is so good. Hey, we got a few questions here. We got about 10 more minutes, guys, and we're gonna call it a day for today. But we got Denisha saying hello, late to the game.
Denisha.
That's all right.
All right, that's all good.
We're talking about what we love to talk about, which is, of course, usually always comes down to Scream.
That's
and
right.
So we're talking whatever you guys want to talk about. So we got a couple of questions I thought we could hit real quick here. First one is from Michael. What's up, Michael? It says, would you cast different actors to play young Billy and young Stu?
Me personally, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like I've even said for like an anthology series or anything like, or not an anthology, but a Scream series, like if they did a prequel or whatever, because one, they're not going to have the budget to de-age them for the entire series.
Way.
It's a lot.
That's a lot.
And I mean, you just need somebody that looks close. I mean, they could bring Kyle Gallner to come in and play Billy again. I mean, he looks so much like Billy in Scream 5 that you just need somebody that looks close. And you just find somebody, because again, any series that's going to be a prequel, they're not like, us audience likely aren't going to care. We want the story. We want to see the history, things like that. And they likely know that. But what about you, Craven? Yeah,
so this was a tough one, man, because do I want to see Stu not being Matthew Lillard? That's a tough one for me to swallow, because anyone that's going to play that role is going to be, all I'm going to be doing is comparing him to Stu to Matthew Lillard, and that's really unfair to that actor. Poor guy, whoever it is would be. But I can't help it. It's just what's going to happen. There's no way I can't get around that. I can't just ignore that because he's saying he is Stu. So it's like you know, it's one thing to compare Ghostface killers to Ghostface killers. Okay, I can do that, but to compare someone who's saying they're that same person is really tough. So. But at the same time, I know your point, Fate. You nailed it. That de-aging stuff, that stuff is not going to be cheap, and a TV series is not going to have the budget of a film.
Yeah,
it's not. It's going to be a fraction of what a film has for a budget. So, can they afford to de-age Billy, Matthew, and Skeet for 6 or 8 episodes? I mean, and they're on the screen 3/4 of the time. It's very expensive.
Yeah, I just don't see that being a possibility.
It's hard for me to rationalize how they can do that for that long, So I guess I would say that I don't think they would. But who would you cast? Man, I don't even know who I would cast, man.
I have no idea. Especially Stu would be harder to me than Billy, because Billy's character, I think, isn't as hard to portray. You just need to look. He's just that kind of asshole, your typical emo asshole type guy in many ways. Where Stu was his charisma, his character, everything. You know what I mean?
Gosh, yes. That would be hard. I would have pity on the poor actor who's going to try to emulate that because it would be hard. It'd be so hard.
It'd be tough.
All right, Pluto's got another question for us here. So as we wrap up, yeah, we do. Yeah, we want a question, Pluto. How in your minds would any of the past stuff outside of Papa Billy fit in with the Carpenter future? Would any of the past stuff fit in with the Carpenter future?
Talk about like it depends on what past stuff you're referencing. I mean, if you're talking about like the
storyline,
Loomis bloodline,
right?
You know, because she said outside of Papa Billy, like I could see Hank coming in as because one, he's somebody that's still alive, somebody we don't know much about. You know, I mean, as far as we know, he's still alive.
Right.
There hasn't been any word that he's dead or alive. You know, so I think as far as like what else could play into the Carpenter's future that ties into like the past stuff would be something along those lines, like a Hank Loomis returning.
Well, Leslie Macher too.
I was just going to say that too.
That ties in.
Leslie Macher, her being able to tie in. Christina Carpenter, her backstory and her history, I think, is another thing. So there is definitely. Oh, to clarify, you were talking about other characters returning. So how would they fit in with a Carpenter future? Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's, I think more so. Like it would be more characters that they established. Like if they did bring back, like say, you know, like how we were talking about earlier, like a Jamie Kennedy as another role, then that would just be another role entirely. You know, so they make that fit however they want. But like characters that we know that could potentially return or be a part of the franchise, I think really comes down to just Hank, Leslie, and Christina, at least at this point, as far as like connections, unless they establish any others in Scream 6.
Yeah, no, I absolutely. I mean, it's just, I don't know, man. There's so many ways that this could all go, and of course that's the fun of this because there's so many possibilities right now because we know nothing about Scream 6 other than it's going to be filmed in the summer in Montreal.
Yeah,
and that's pretty much. And Radio Silence is doing it, and Guy and James are writing it, and that's about all we got. So, where was I? I found something here. I was going to show you something here. Oh well, I'll find it. Oh, here it is. Wayne says, "Fate, love the Stu Train." That's all he said. We love the Stu Train. Hey, what's up, Keon? What's happened? Keon says, "Hey, man, good to see you, buddy. Do you think that she'll go down a dark path?" Well, you know, we've touched a bit on this before. I'm of the opinion that personally, I'm in the minority of the collective, and that's okay. I'm the only one of the three guys that actually wants to see Sam basically go full-blown Ghostface right there. That's. I hope it happens. I know I'm the only one, and that's okay. That's how I feel about it. I want to see her go down this path. She struggles with this good and evil back and forth, but now that she's killed Richie, I'm telling you guys, it's going to be a game changer. She's killed now, and she feels what it's like, and obviously she had some enjoyment because she obviously how she acted, and even with the knife cut. Come on, man. So I'm just saying, yeah, she's had a taste of blood. She is going to now have her struggle is going to go amplified 10 times from what it was before, and I want to see her eventually crack and actually just completely go in, say, and embrace the inner darkness. Turn to the dark side, Skywalker. You turn. That's what I want. Anyway, so Fate, I'll let you. I know you view it differently, but I just want to throw that out up front. I hope she does. Now, I will say this before you say that. I don't think she will. I'm saying that at the same time. I think Radio Silence, they will not do that with her. It will be a struggle because they want her to be the final girl, and I think that she's, you know, the new quote Sydney. So they're going to let her struggle, but I do not believe she'll turn. However, I want her to. If I was writing it, she would. That's my response. Good.
Yeah, no, I mean, I want to see her struggle with it. I want to see her. I really hope, like, in many ways, it's almost like a drug addict that needs her hit. Like, she's just, you know, she's really wanting to, she's like feigning to do that, which I would even like to see if there are new Ghostface attacks, her like trying to find them as an excuse to kill. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Because I mean, you can make the argument Sydney has more blood than most of the killers in the franchise. You know, I mean, all the people she has killed, like, you know, I mean, that would kind of be Sam's escape, would be killing these killers, like being the one to just go to town on all of them. I just don't want to see her, because that's just such the typical horror movie trope. You know, the person with mental illness becomes the killer. And I just think that Sam, being a character that has a lot of these struggles that many other people deal with, it'd be nice to just, let's go a different route. Let's not go the whole, like, oh, the person that has issues is really crazy. Like, because that's just what we always see. I mean, every movie, the person that is on medication is the one that they stop taking their meds and they become a killer. Like, I'd like them to go a different route and just kind of make it more unique. But yeah.
Denisha says, Kraven, you did great with Killjoy Jake yesterday, donating in came in how much did you ask for Jake? You got more spoilers. Yeah, so last night, Denisha, thanks for bringing this up, because this is a great chance, fate for us to transition for a minute into the Red Right Hand.
Yeah.
It's a perfect timing. Sorry for wiping my face, but something was in my eye, so I had to do it. So yeah, Denisha. So last night on my channel, I did what ended up being a 3-hour live stream with Jake to talk about Six and mostly about Red Right Hand. And you know, and speaking of which, Red Right Hand which is just a killer poster. So basically, last night what I did was and Jake had no idea I was going to do this, but I started off the live stream last night, Fate, basically saying that, I know you popped in for a little bit, I don't know if you were at the beginning, but basically
I came in, like, I don't know, it was like an hour or two.
Like an hour in, yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, so for those who are here in the chat here right now who didn't see it, you can watch the replay. It's up on my channel, of course, but he gives a lot of spoiler. He gives some first-time information. He gave it like 2 new things he's never shared anywhere on the stream last night. So if you want to hear some juicy stuff about Red Right Hand, I'm telling you, I'm not going to spoil it and say it here. You need to go over to my channel when we're done and pull up the stream from last night. But Denisha, to answer your question, he didn't know I was going to do this. I told him, I said, look, man, as we were live, I said, everyone who donates a super chat, I'm donating all of the super chats to the Kickstarter. So everyone who wanted to donate last night. And so it was so awesome to see. And Jake and I talked about it after we hung up, because it was very heartwarming for me. And he was so humbled and blown away by it, because everyone responded that could. And not everyone can, and that's okay. But those that were able to were able to contribute, and we made a really fun thing out of it. And we were about to log off, and someone said, no, don't leave. And so we decided, hey, for every super chat, every dollar, whatever your dollar amount is, buys another minute per dollar. And so people just, another round has started pouring in. That's
a good idea.
It was really cool. Well, we ended up going for a whole another hour because of more super chats. So this is a very long answer to say that, Denisha, the final total that I donated right after our live stream went straight to Kickstarter. I pledged it all to Jake, sent him a screenshot so he saw that I did it, and it was a total of $210 in super chats last night.
Nice.
And I donated all of it to Jake, and it was just a fun night. And man, you guys were amazing and blew me away. And here's what I told Jake. I said, here's what I want to do, man. I have this $200. I already have donated myself previously. I said I can add to that, or I can do what I wanted to do was do a bunch of these smaller donations until we got to 200, so that all of the prizes, the perks that he offers, I would get all of those perks and I would give them away on the channel. Random giveaways on the channel to everybody. Yeah, cool. And he was like, this is a great idea. So what he's doing is I went ahead and added to my previous donation, and he's going to send me like a double of every single thing they have, everything. Yeah. And so when it's all said and done, I'll be, whenever this stuff comes out at the end of the year or whenever it is, I'll be doing a giveaway on the channel as a way of thanking everyone back for donating for that live stream. Cool. So it was fun, man. It was a great time. So guys, go to right now. It's in the description of the video. I put a link to it in this description right now, the live stream. So you can go to click the Kickstarter link, and he's only got 12 days where he's at $2,700 right now. He's got it. Got to get to 5, right? He's got to get to 5,
Yeah.
and he's got 12 days. So if there's anything you can do between now and then, please, if you have to wait till the weekend for payday, I get that. Trust me. Whenever it is you're able to do it, if you can, every dollar is counting, like extremely counts right now, because that number needs to get hit. So let's help him get there. So Denisha and all that were on the stream last night, thank you for your generosity. Jake is so appreciative, man. He was literally blown away. Like, he was kind of at a loss for words. He didn't know I was going to do that. And it was just a fantastic night for all you guys that we gave and were hanging out with us. So anyway, Fate, I'll let you say what you want to do. Anything else you want to add to that?
No, just like we've talked about. I mean, whatever you can do to help. Me and Craven, we have no skin in the game. Like,
right.
We don't get any money. We don't get any publicity. We literally, the only reason we're doing this is because, one, we want to give back to the community. We want to help. We're excited for this fan project. He's a Lethal Collective member, so we got to support each other, and he's just a great guy. Like, it's always nice to help people with their passions, to help people with, the things that they want to do the most. And so, I mean, anything we could do to help. If you can't donate, share the link, because there might be one person that sees that and goes, "Oh, this is great. Let me give something." So it's just it's one of those things. Like, anything and everything helps.
It does.
We've got 12 more days.
12 days.
We're getting there, and So anything you could help to achieve would be much appreciated to us, and especially Jake. And he really is humbled. Like, believe
he
me.
is.
Like, he talks to us all the time behind the scenes, and he's like, it's so amazing. Like, and he's so thankful for everything. It's not just a front, because he doesn't have to be behind the scenes talking to us about everything, what's going on, saying he's humbled. Like, it's one thing to say something in front of a camera. It's another thing to say things behind closed doors, because he really feels that way. He really is just like blown away by how everyone feels,
Yeah, absolutely. It really is genuine. Pluto says, Craven, you and me, Team Sam. There you go. See, I'm not the only one. That's right. Let's go. Last thing here, guys. I know we didn't get to everybody's questions tonight, but listen, there's always another collective stream, right? We got one coming up Friday. We're just this week. So if you had a question that we didn't get to, don't be frustrated by that. It's just the way the conversation goes, and we do have a kind of a harder start time today than we all sometimes do. Bluck, I will respond, though. I do see this real quick here. I'm going to give you a super quick answer. And if you want to chat more about it, we can chat more on my channel about it. I'll be glad to. That's not the right one. I was like, wait a minute. That's not the question I just saw. Oh, no. Okay, well, basically, Blucka was asking the question, why is Stu waiting this long to come back? I think that was basically what the question was. So my thoughts on that is that basically because we'll find out the reason, right? My reason could be completely different than what the reason is going to be. I think one of those might also be because depending on, because I have a whole theory about he possibly is the one. And I'm not going to, again, I have to say this really quick because I got to run. He could be the one that started this Reddit page that Amber and Richie responded to. And if he is the mastermind behind this, that's what started that whole thing. And it could possibly be, and Wayne says, am I stoned? No, man, I'm stoned on life. I am high on life. So yes, if you mean that, yes, I am. I'm high on life. So, but no, when he found out about Sam, when he found out Billy had a daughter, this could have been what sparked everything. He may not have known any of this stuff for a long time. He could have started this whole thing up with this Reddit page because he's jonesing. I mean, you could write it a lot of ways, but the bottom line is it could be just as simple as this. Block. I'll just give my last answer. He could have found out at some point through these last 20-something years that Billy had a child, and then all of a sudden, he waited until it was the right time. She was an old enough age that this could work, and he could have a whole plan to either recruit her to try to kill with him, or just to kill her off. Either one. You could go either way. You make cases for both sides of it. So, listen, we could talk more about it. I don't have a lot more time to go into it, but that's my answer for you on that one. A real quick answer. What else? Oh, Fate. Also, we're going to talk about saying everyone about our subscription mark campaign, right? Our quest for 1K. You want? Do you want? You want?
1,000.
Yeah, man. Why don't you hype us?
1,000.
Hype it up, man. Let's go.
1,000 subscribers. We need 1,000 subscribers. We're at what, like 412?
412, I think we are. Yeah.
Something along those lines. But we need to get to 1,000 subs. So if you're in this chat and you're not subscribed, I know most of you are, but if you're not, also just double check, make sure. You'd be surprised, especially YouTube. YouTube unsubscribes people all the time, which is weird.
Yeah.
I don't know why. But if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. If you know anyone that would be willing to subscribe, share this with them. If you can, share the channel on social medias, Facebook groups, whatever the case may be. Help us get to 1,000 subscribers, because once we get to 1,000 subscribers, it opens a lot more possibilities, a lot more doors for us to better engage, do more creative things behind the scenes, stuff like that. Enable super chats, things like that to plug back into this channel. And even, I think we could talk about this, because we're all on the consensus with it, is all the money we get for this channel, once we get monetized and stuff like that, we actually want to put back into the channel to grow it through like advertising, stuff like that. It's something that we've all talked about. We all agree on, that the goal is to turn this collective into this big thing, because we all agree that this could be bigger than even our each individual parts. Like the fact that all four of us are able to come on, obviously the last two ones, it hasn't been all four of us, but that's the beauty of having the collective, right?
Yeah.
Is that there's so many of us, it's almost guaranteed, unless.
Oh, your mic's out. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead. That's fine. Yeah. He's exactly right. That is the beauty of this, where if one of us has to miss, or two of us can't make it, it's not a big deal. We can come in and we can fill the gap like we had on Friday and today. And listen, there'll be days where Fate and I are out, and it's going to be Jake and Knight on the collective. Yeah, that stuff happens. But the statistical norm is going to be the four of us. That's what it is.
Yeah. Sorry, thank you for picking it up.
Yeah, of course.
One of my babies was banging on the door. So
you're all good, brother. Don't worry.
But yeah, so yeah, anything you can do will help. Any of the sharing, subscribing, anything. We definitely want this to be something different. I think it's just a unique opportunity for all of us. Just to have four channels in the same space come together and just talk and have fun. It's a wonderful thing. And just the connection, all of our different points of views, all of the personalities, we're all so different, but so similar. And I think that's what makes it special. I really see the collective being something serious in the future. So that's the plan. So anything you can do to help us get to 1,000 subscribers would be much appreciated.
Absolutely.
I think that's good.
Yeah, man. I think you said it. And of course, before you guys head out, if you would, please smash that thumbs up button. I know you see it on the banner on the bottom, but it does help this video in replay mode for more people to see it, which helps it grow. And guess what? Helps more subscribers come to the channel. So it all ties into helping us reach that goal. And listen, the sky's the limit for where things can happen. Like, I'm not going to repeat all of what Fate said, because he said it perfectly, but he's right. We all feel that same way, and I believe there'll come a day where the Lethal Collective is going to be quite a substantial thing. I really, really do, and I think it's the four of us as friends. It just works. It just works for us personally, and we hope that it works for you guys too. And you guys are still coming, so apparently it does. So that's good news. Bye, Pluto. Appreciate you. We appreciate you. And Wayne wanted to say goodbye. I think it was Wayne that said goodbye up here. Thanks for the chat, Miss Knight and Jake. Yeah, we missed him too.
We appreciate all of you. Seriously, we do.
Yes, we really do.
It's always the same people in all of our live streams, all of our all of our comments, all of our everything. And believe me, we see it. We appreciate all of you. It means a lot. All of the support. I mean, what a blessed position for us to be in.
Oh, it's amazing.
To have people that actually want to listen to us talk.
I know. It's amazing. All right.
It's nice, especially my girl can't wait for me to shut up, and these people want me to talk.
That's awesome. Great. All right, guys. Well, listen, we're going to leave it there for today, but we'll be back on Friday at 5 p.m. our normal time, 5 p.m. Central, 6 Eastern, for another round of the Lethal Collective. And I only have one last question for everybody in the chat. Will you be there? Fate?
I'll be there.
You'll be there.
I'll be
And
there.
guess what? I'll be there. We'll see you guys. Catch you next time.
See you all in the next one.
Bye.